Welcome, folks, to the Reason RX podcast with Michael. My co-host Melanie is busy momming around today, so she can't join us for another conversation with the great, the one and only, the magnanimous John McPherson of P3 CrossFit. Hello, John.
Hello, how you doing, Michael? Thank you for having me back.
Sure. More good conversation today.
Absolutely.
And this is important. Exercise is important, but one thing we got to remember is the importance of movement, exercise, fitness for our mental health, our mental well-being, memory, cognition. There's a lot of science, scientific investigation on that. People are learning a lot. Remember, there's still a hell of a lot to learn. People are still learning about the importance of being outdoors, what it can do for us, the importance of exercise, like the group fitness stuff that CrossFit is so famous for, and some other modalities that really utilize the social aspect as well. But a lot here, so it's not just about bigger muscles. It's about cognitive fitness, physical prowess, being all we can be. And it's important, as we say, like we talked a little bit about last time. Unfortunately, some American schools are taking away recess or cutting it back, and it's going to have a negative effect. It's like a really bad idea for immediate learning and for human learning and well-being in the long run. Doing stuff that really pushes you can make a big difference. There's a story you can look up. I found this out about Isaac Newton is interesting. Isaac Newton, everyone knows now, is a great genius, right? Okay, but when he was in school, let's see. I'm not sure how what the exact thing is. I have to look into it to get the details, but I think maybe in his grade or whatever, classes were divided up into 5 levels. So, the super smart kids, and then below that, then average, and then below and below. And I think he was supposedly in the second to the bottom group. And he was near the bottom of that. And he'd get picked on. People would, at his school, do stuff to him. But one day, this one big kid kicked Newton in the ass, picking on him, and Newton finally was tired of it. So he got that kid, he grabbed his head, and he shoved it against the church school wall and beat the kid up. And yeah, I'm not advocating going around beating people up, but do defend yourself. But the point is, once he started defending himself physically, after that, his grades he started being more competitive in grades, and he started shooting up to the top of his class. It was only that after that incident. It's like Back to the Future, the movie. You got to hit Biff, and then you start being successful. You give in, then it's it affects your whole entire life.
Michael Gold's Secrets of the World. We tell all of our kids that come in, just punch the first one in your face. You get A's for the rest of your life.
You're giving away my secrets.
Love it. No, that's just how interesting something that inappropriate in the world or socially inappropriate to hit somebody and go after somebody empowered him in unique ways. That's really neat.
Yeah, just like people watch Back to the Future if you haven't, just hitting Biff. Just
exactly.
It's a matter of self-defense. I'm not advocating going around being violent or beating people up, but it's you got to defend yourself. That'll happen sometimes, but one good thing about some of these things like CrossFit or some martial arts is you get to do the same thing in a controlled environment. I think it's in our nature to need some of that, to learn how to control the violence that's inherent in us as humans, as it is in all animals, like it or not. It's one thing that's made it possible for us to survive. Otherwise, we'd have been wiped out a long time ago.
Yeah, but fight or flight mentality. What are you going to do when it's uncomfortable?
Yeah. And then I know, a lot of stuff I've done too, in CrossFit, outside of CrossFit. Some of these workouts have helped me become like more balanced and centered and stable and all that.
Absolutely.
I can tell a difference between when I used to not do it and now. Really makes a difference. But or one time, so here's something I've never told anybody for 20 years, but this is one thing that's interesting. But about 1999, 2000, I wanted to do something different and challenge myself. And so I went to a bull riding camp.
Nice. Nice.
Talk about a challenge. It's like being on the back of a bull. It's like, OMG. It's like, talk about like having to conquer your fears. They get, because like you're in that little thing, and if you'd like slip and fall off, it's like, it's going to take them a little while to get the gate open, and you're under that thing's feet until you can get out. It never happened to me, but just the thought of what could happen. Jeez. But one thing that was interesting psychologically there was, after doing that weekend, I'd noticed, like, maybe I'd go to the gym when I'd go to 24-hour fitness back in the day, and I'd leave and it's raining, and all these people are like scared and shrinking down and wanting umbrellas. And after that, something happens to you like psychologically, and it just sinks into your system physically, into your biology and everything. So, I mean, I'd be walking out in this heavy rain and I don't give a squat. I'm like the badger and some of them things. What is it? Honey badger. Honey badger don't give a dang.
Right.
Yeah. It's like you're walking out in that stuff and heavy rain's falling on you. It's like, I don't care. Could be sunshine, could be heavy rain, big deal. That was interesting. Really interesting. Just the effect it has on you like that.
Yeah.
So I can kind of imagine by extension what it must be like for like the Navy SEALs. I can't feel it. I'm not there, but I can possibly try to imagine it, kind of similar thing.
Yeah.
So, this stuff I think, helps a lot with cognition, confidence, everything. You notice some of that, John, in yourself or people in your gym?
Oh, absolutely. I tell people this should be the difficult part of their day. And then they go into these extreme scenarios, so to speak, where they're having to give a presentation in front of 500 people or their boss and make a pitch for a sale. And it's just, you're there. They're like, this doesn't feel out of place. I actually feel very calm. It's
yeah.
on. But at the same time, it's one of those things you can't really express to people until they've experienced it.
Yeah.
Because they don't come to the gym to get that. They're not coming to get that. It's not the direct thing. They're coming there because they want to lose 5 pounds. They look better in their swimsuit. But then suddenly, when they're, it just all comes together and building that confidence across the board. And
yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. You see it all the time.
Like we say, it's like there's all these, as I said last time, these non-linear effects that occur. We're complex. We're not this linear, simple system. All this feedback stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite old stories that Glassman used to talk about, CrossFit, founder of CrossFit, was that when they first started instituting CrossFit into the police academies out in California, they would have across the radio, the dispatch would have an officer on there talking about how they're involved in a shooting and wrestling, fighting with a criminal or bad person, and the dispatch didn't believe them because the officer was calm.
Nice.
Not panicking and panting and frantically screaming into the mic. It was just so calm and just an incredible just difference from some of their officers that had been doing CrossFit and training and then actually had to put it to work physically in their line of duty, and then suddenly you can communicate better, even under complete duress and fear and fighting for your life, literally.
Yeah, that's a big important story. Just because that can have big consequences and the decisions you make when you're calm and confident like that, whether you do the right thing or not, whether you panic, whether you get in trouble.
Yeah.
So yeah, like firefighters, police officers, this kind of stuff would help them a lot. Probably some yoga helps good in some ways, but it just doesn't have that intensity to it and some of that fight or flight stuff involved.
Right.
More like CrossFit, this moving out stuff, some parkour, where you're really pushing your limits.
Absolutely.
But go ahead.
I don't feel that in yoga very often.
Yeah. Good stuff. Not knocking it, but it has its place. But
my heart might get a little bit racing if I see a few stretchy pants, but it's a different feeling, different entirely.
Very. Yeah. Like, excuse me, criminal, while I do a downward dog. Okay, now I feel better. Let's go. Yeah. But any others, like, have you actually given like a presentation in front of a lot of people and this has helped, or you got some of your people done that, or what?
Oh, it's we've had a relatively new member to the gym. He's been with us for less than a year, and I knew he was part of a nonprofit, and really didn't know to what end or a lot about what he did day to day. But after he'd been with us for about 6 or 7 months, a few of my other members came up to me and asked, they're like, "Hey, is this so-and-so?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's we just saw him speak yesterday in front of like 6,000 people. It was just amazing." And I talked to this new member part of the nonprofit about it, and he says, "It's nothing. I don't think about anything when I'm up there. It's just so calming when he's out there in front and talking." And it's kind of a neat little back off, and he's had a lot of practice and experienced a lot of it, just because he's been in that world for so long. But what we talked about is this, because he's finally integrating the exercise portion into his routine in his daily life, that he has to have the exercise portion to feel better when he does these, just because it's calming for him before he even goes into them.
Yeah, so it's helped him a lot compared to what he used to be like.
Yeah, he said it was always a little bit more not discombobulated, because he's just some people are just really good speakers and talkers, and he's got a charisma to him, absolutely, but just a little less of a tone and difference. It's just a way that he could feel. So it was interesting to hear and talk to him about.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think I've noticed some of that too. It's like just the whole holistic thing, diet, exercise. It's helped me. As I said, I think used to be autistic or something. Maybe it's just in remission or whatever, but I know it wasn't until like I did the paleo thing and really started working out really hard, doing some stuff outdoors, that I really noticed changes in attitude, emotion, memory, being around people. I used to like weird out if I'd go to Willowbrook Mall and go to the Apple Store. People are looking at me, but now it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Some more clarity and focus, and
yeah,
I guess maybe a little bit more sensory accepting almost. You could process more.
Yeah.
And handle it.
Yeah. The brain's working right. I've read, and this fits my own experience. I had all this experience first, and I don't know if I would have believed it otherwise, but all the stuff I've learned from exercise, brain science, sleep, paleo, my own experience, but read this book, The Autistic Revolution, I think it's called. And her argument is that autism is epigenetic, and that makes perfect sense to me, given my experience. And, of course, the examples the book gave, the reasoning, the theory, we're finding out a lot of stuff is like that, epigenetic in origin, not just like cancer. It's not in our genes. We're not destined to get it. It's how our genes are expressed, the epigenetics that matters. Excuse me. But, yeah. But I recommend, like, a lot of people read the book, even if they don't have autism. It's still good to learn about the human condition, how we function, learn about epigenetics in a different context than you might otherwise.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
But yeah. So, what are the differences between L1, L2, L3, and L4?
Well, I'll keep that as brief as I possibly can on that one, because there's a million differences between all of them. But on paper, kind of the base level, the level 1 is it's the shotgun blast to the face of what is CrossFit.
Yeah, like
it's a great base level expression of the 9 foundational movements in CrossFit, plus a few other ones. A good touch on programming, nutrition, and implementation of how to just start using this. How can anybody function, use, and be taught some of these? And you're also taught a good number of these movements. And at that point, you are a certified level 1 CrossFit instructor. You know the foundations of how to help somebody start their path in functional fitness or CrossFit. The level 2 is the higher level piece, where it's still the same movements and everything, all the thought process and that comes from the level 1, but it's about how you present that material to somebody else. How well can you actually teach it to somebody, and actually not only teach it and just spit the words out for memorization, but now then fix, correct, see, cue, and direct somebody who was just like you at the level 1 who had no clue what they were doing.
Yeah.
And now let's teach somebody how to do all these things and fix them.
And you mean like CQ, not some abbreviations, but C as in look and Q as in QUE. Yeah.
Yes, you're correct.
Indicate. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Get somebody moving correctly, see how they're moving incorrectly, and fix it. The level 3 is an entirely written exam. It's a very thorough 4-hour, 6-hour long exam at a testing facility. 300 some odd questions that include extensive video, and the questions are all over the place, from including material from the level 1 and level 2. But you start adding in more dietary and nutrition stuff, the zone, metabolic diseases. You talk about scaling and modification for all levels, types of athletes, expectations and path of getting an athlete from point A to point B. What's the process? It covers a much, much broader stream that's more of an encompassing of a true coach or an instructor that you would expect some true mastery in.
And can you bring in like flashcards, or can you write on the back of your arm or inside your collar or something?
Yeah, I tell people you take it at the same place you take your GRE at. It's you're in your little cubby or booth or testing room, and it's you got your headphones, and I think they give you a calculator. I don't know why you would. There was a couple of random questions that you need to do some calculations for, like a zone diet or something like that, but you're just on your own. And they really don't tell you a whole lot afterwards. You walk out, you get your sheet of paper, and it generally says that you passed or not. And they don't tell you where you missed things. You just you either passed or didn't. And that right now is sitting, I think last I checked, was somewhere, they were saying around a 30% pass rate, or 35% pass rate. And then finally, the level 4, this is, I still call it, even though I'm a level 4, I call it the mythical level 4. Pretty much the only people that have a level 4 outside of the CrossFit training staff that teach their seminars. I think there's only like 6 of us, and we're just old souls. We've just been around the world, across the world for so long. But the level 4, as I experienced it and as it's been administered now, it's usually by the director of training CrossFit. That's Nicole Carroll, and Adrian Bosman is also a part of that used to do them, and even Dave Castro to some end. And this is the bigger picture of, how your personality, how you present yourself. There's so many different pieces of this. It's like, your body language, your posture, how well you position yourself to cue the max number of people, how efficiently you're able to get, this X number group of people moving to the right, how many it's very, very encompassing and extremely detail oriented. And for what I found going through it way back in the day, it was just it's the level 2 on steroids, but you better know everything from the level 3 when you get there. So it's that level 4 should be presenting itself to the public here very soon, I think. I haven't heard the exact date, but if you weren't in the small world community of CrossFit headquarters staff, you are not going to. It hasn't been available.
Interesting.
So it's it means a lot. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but it's just definitively, if I go to another gym or I'm traveling and I see somebody's level 4, I'm absolutely going to go there over the gym that might be closer to me with a level 1 or level 2. It
makes
just
sense.
I know the gym's going to be run better, the facility, the standards of the care for the student, and it's just going to be a better experience.
Yeah,
on many levels. So
yeah, but got to go through level 1 before you get to level 4. But yeah. But and then in level 1, is it written test and practical?
So the practical is participating in all of the group breakout sessions, going through all the movement standards, and of course there is some flexibility there. Like if you physically can't participate because of whatever, but participating throughout the weekend. And yes, there's a written exam. It's a 50-question exam at the end that's grossly covers the level 1 training guide. That's a brief bit on nutrition, brief bit on programming. What is CrossFit? What is fitness? Define the 10 tenets of fitness. Stuff like it's very entry level stuff, but it's what you need to know to start implementing the whole ideology of CrossFit.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be like going to martial arts and just becoming a white belt. It'd be a little step or two above that. Wouldn't be like a black belt, but it's not. Oh well, they're like a white belt compared to people in general.
Agreed. No, you complete the level 1 training. You've got some competency to you. You're not just learning how to kick and punch.
Yeah, you know your stuff. Yeah, but what about level 2? Is that just written, or is that like some practical also?
The new level 2 test way back in the day, level 2 used to be just an in-person evaluation, watching. Now the level 2 is again a participation-based course, and you get feedback throughout the entire weekend, which is
cool.
Small breakout sessions, small groups with one-on-one or 5-on-1 with a trainer, and you guys just basically rotate teaching each other the movements and get picked apart. You go in really micro, then back out macro on a big scale, little scale, individual, and then at the end, it is a web-based exam, or if not web-based, it's the internet. You download a program to take through the test and submit, and it's got a lot of video that you're looking for. Identifying the gross movement fault. What would be the number 1 cue? What's the secondary cue? How would you approach this person or not? What's an appropriate modification?
Yeah, cool.
So,
a lot of good coaching stuff.
Yeah. I love the level 2. I require my entire staff to be at minimum level 2 certified because it is a wonderful course.
Good, cool. And then it's not like any average Joe can just go through and do these, right? You got to be involved in a CrossFit Box for some of them, and isn't that part of a requirement? You got to be like coaching or something.
They strongly suggest that you have been teaching or coaching CrossFit for 6 months to a year prior to attending the level 2. I'm sure there's some anomalies that have been able to get through there faster or shorter, and then there's a lot of others that, we've hosted, I think, maybe 9 or 10 level 2 seminars here, and every time there's at least 5 or 10 people that come to retake the exam because they failed it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's going to hurt you to go. It's continue to make you better. It's just what you plan to do with it. If you plan to actively use it and use it to make a living or not, you need to be involved in CrossFit.
Yeah, and do they require like a 2-year recertification or something like that? It's not like lifetime for any of them, is it?
No, I remember correctly, the level 1 gets you 5 years. The level 2, I want to say it's either a 3 or 5 year renewal. I want to say 5 year. Mm-hmm. And it's a recertify. Once you take the level 3, you have an option of doing continuing education credits through some providers of different stuff, so you can kind of branch out. I don't have to keep going through the level 1 seminar over and over again. I can actually take some different courses, just like you mentioned, like MoveNat or any of those other ones that I can get some credits for to pass.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And how many people you have on staff?
5 staff members.
Cool. But yeah, as I say, folks, I hear a lot of good things about P3.
And looking for a new one in case they're out there.
Yeah. And then, if someone is, and or you know someone, send them John's way. And he's got some good programs and takes good care of his people. And your people tend to stick around a long time, right? Both students and staff. The only reason why they leave is because they, life issues. They move, they get married, stuff like that, and they, steal them away from you. But they stay. Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard that not just from John, but from like outside sources. So. Cool. So what are the 10 domains of CrossFit?
Oh, the 10 steps. These are all originally taken from what's the medicine ball company called that makes the big Dynamax originally had these 10 tenets of fitness. Mm-hmm. And just like everything great out in the world, CrossFit just stole it.
Yeah, because a lot of it goes, CrossFit didn't invent everything. It goes back like thousands of years.
Right.
Because we're humans. You just look, what does a human do? So yeah, MoveNat does the same thing. I think MoveNat learned some stuff from CrossFit. CrossFit might have learned some stuff from MoveNat since then, and parkour, and all good systems are related.
And it was really neat that these 10 steps seem to work really, really well. And they are the cardiovascular, respiratory endurance, stamina, strength, flexibility, power, speed, and then you have coordination, agility, balance, and accuracy. And the way they broke these up is that your first 4 are typically adapted or gained or increased through training, whereas your coordination, agility, balance, and accuracy, or your 7, 8, 9, 10 were from practice type things. And then your middle 2, your power and speed, come from a combination of both the training and practice aspect.
And age.
Yeah.
Mitochondrial degradation.
Yeah. But that's how they originally broke up. So they're okay. Listed. I listed them off in order. I've memorized it. And that random piece on the CrossFit level 1 exam, when they ask these, usually the free T-shirt they give you lists these 10 on the back of the shirt. So happened to wear that shirt that day.
Funny.
Just in case anybody's taking the level 1 out there and is worried about that, just make sure you wear the free T-shirt. No, they are. When you look at all your programming and movements and things, perfect world would be to try to do movements that, or combination of movements that touch on more of these at a time.
Yeah, be more efficient.
Yeah,
not like, because it really doesn't happen much in the real world anyway. Like, okay, let's look at balance in isolation from everything else. Let's look at power in isolation from everything else. Well, it's related. Right. Power's related to strength and balance and coordination.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can isolate some things. kind of it's more a matter of taking a perspective with some of these concepts. It's like you're taking a different perspective on the same thing. Look at it this way, it's coordination. Look at the same thing this way, it's balance. Look at the same thing this way, it's strength. Look at it this way, it's power. But yeah. So what are some of the things you do for balance?
Balance, the number one thing we end up seeing, you mentioned our age students. You talk about a single leg movement. You talk about a unilateral, just a lunge. Mm-hmm. A lunge walk step coming up and down from one knee. Be amazed how much balance that requires in somebody who hasn't, been in the gym or been sitting behind a desk for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing people need to realize, how some of this would help, how they could take some of the primal play, CrossFit, MoveNat, nutritious movement, take some of these movements and do them in their office. There's, you don't want to work up a sweat all the time if you're in a suit or something, or you're an officer or police officer or fireman making the rounds or something. But there is stuff you can do easily in your office, some of the balance, mobility, and all that. Like, do some lunges. Get up, do some lunges. You're leading a meeting. You want your people to work better. Make sure their brains are working better. Make sure they're moving, not sitting around falling asleep, being like half awake.
Yeah.
But and then I think it comes up. Even people might think that, they're like athletes, and I've done it in high school and like junior high school and college, and I play this sport and I'm all this. Well, like someone I knew played high school football, and he went to another CrossFit. He's too far. I recommended years. He's too far south to make it, except maybe sometimes. But he did say the one he goes to has some good things about it. He was doing clean and jerk or something like that, and they noticed that. Look, dude, you're going to go back to 20 pounds on each side of the bar because your balance sucks. Work on your balance, work on control. Then you can start moving the weight instead of throwing it and yourself around like some uncoordinated ragdoll. I don't care if you played football and you think you're bad and you've had a coach, you're not doing this right.
No.
So get your technique down with 20 pounds. Show us you got some balance and stability and coordination, then we'll let you take it up.
My favorite is the teaching any new athlete or anybody you've never worked with, teaching a barbell movement. You teach it with a wooden dowel or a PVC pipe. It might weigh a pound, and they always tell you, I need more weight to feel it. I can't do it without weight.
Yeah.
And there, I can argue that there might be some aspect of getting some feedback from a little bit of load, but it's not going to be any better than just with the empty bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. It needs to be perfect, and it needs to be, ingrained in you.
Yeah. I hadn't looked at it that way until you said that, but yeah, that's a good point. It could be they need weight because they're cheating. They're just throwing things around. They don't have real control. So for some people, it could be they got to have that weight there to fake it and not really do it right. Interesting. Yeah.
It's one of those things where, yes, I understand that you might need that feedback. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you, if you do it with the PVC pipe correctly, it'll be better there. So it's not like you can go back to the other one. You're skipping a step no matter what.
Yeah. Or, like there's to show more people the need for this. We're not making it up. It's like there's someone I know who plays football at some big Ivy League college. He's a freshman, but I was out with him and some other college kids I knew from tutoring them. Took him out in the woods, let him exercise some, and this one kid who's at this Ivy League school. He couldn't even walk on this this piece of concrete low to the ground and wider than a 2x4. He didn't have the balance to walk on that straight. And for all these different things, that needs to improve. you can't recover your balance when you're hit any better than you can balance in the first place.
Yeah. The kinesthetic awareness of just using your own body, let alone having somebody throw theirs at you.
Yeah.
At speed.
Yeah. So that's a major thing. That's a good thing about CrossFit and some of these others, that the focus on balance that doesn't come up enough in gyms and high school athletics.
Right. I mean, strict first, move controlled, move deliberate, and then let's make it dynamic.
Yeah, true. But so what are some other things, like what are some things some people in offices might be able to do for balance, that balance coordination that they could do like in an office with maybe some suit or dress clothes on? I guess in some cases kick off the high heels and do some stuff around the desk. But what are some things you can think of?
I was just going to say, so hopefully they're at a standing desk.
Yeah. If
they're at a standing desk, that'd be great. But then that's just the typical having a fidget ball or a fidget bar. They actually, there's companies out there that sell a fidget bar that you can stand and just rock your foot on back and forth. But shift, go left from right, left, spend 10 minutes on one foot. Or if you have a small ball, we're talking like a small lacrosse ball or even a small little soccer ball or something, just to have in there to rotate underneath feet. That's just going to put you balance, forcing you left to right.
Yeah, good.
Otherwise, like the true balance stuff, I mean, I love the breaks that come naturally. If you're a slave to your computer, you need to have an alarm on your phone that every 45 minutes or an hour you're going to lunge walk to the water bucket or whatever, something to get you moving. But if you especially want to do balance things, you just got to pick one to do there. Or every time you answer the phone, stand on one foot.
Yeah.
We could do a bunch of silly stuff like that.
Yeah, and work your way up to it. Do like, depending on what you can, 5 seconds on one foot, 5 seconds on the other leg, go back, build up slowly to 10, 15, 30 a minute. Then I use something like, for what you're saying about rolling balls into your feet, I use like a lacrosse ball or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, these like hard rubber balls about the size of a tennis ball. I got some of those that are nice. And then they can also do double duty. Like you can use them to like rub into and massage your legs and arms and back and stuff.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. Cool. And then if other people, what about if other people are like giving you a hard time or making fun of you? So you're lunge walking to get some water.
Why you care what this person thinks of you taking care of yourself is not any of your business. I mean, I just smile and wave to people. I personally just don't care. If you think I'm a weirdo because I'm out here jogging or I'm out here lunging or I'm practicing a handstand somewhere silly, I mean, it makes me happy, makes me feel good. And I could care less what the rest of the world or my cubicle neighbor thinks of me. Yeah. As long as it's not my boss saying I'm causing problems. Yeah. But, I mean, if anything, I'd be like, hey, why don't you try it? Come over here and do it for a minute.
Yeah, true. It's like,
bring them into it.
Yeah, we'll give some pointers. It's like both go at it and challenge another team.
Yeah,
another sales team or something. Yeah.
I love the challenge idea.
But or else preferably try to be nice. Hopefully you don't got to say something like, "Yeah, well, how are them Twinkies working for you?" Or, "I'll see you in the hospital when you have your heart attack."
Yeah. That's I think my wife was just the other weekend. Usually I do all the grocery shopping with my two boys, and she was with us, and we were playing around, walking down the frozen food aisle. Not the good, like, vegetable fruit frozen stuff, but the bad frozen food. Yeah. And I was just wandering around going, cancer. Look at that cancer over there. That looks good. Yeah. And I'm just in my own world messing with my boys and laughing. And then she's hitting me. Did you hear that? They were staring at you. I was like, oh, they're going to get cancer.
Yeah. medical research behind it.
Yeah. So hopefully you don't have to say too bad things like that. But, it gets the point across.
Yeah. Sometimes some people need it.
Yeah.
But, I've had some of that. You're saying about with people giving you a hard time. I know I've been out and, there's some advanced movements you can't do until you go through an easier movement. And if you want to do I forget what it's called, like a no hands cartwheel. Before you do that, you got to do a one-handed cartwheel. And before you do that, you got to do a two-handed cartwheel. And before that, you got to look like stupid doing some like little kicking around like a donkey kind of thing. But I'll be out doing some, I'd be out doing some one-handed cartwheels, and they're so. And, some little like high school girl runs by jogging. You can see her laughing. But it's like, let me see you do a two-handed. Let me see you do a free. I'm on my way to a no-handed one. What about you?
Yes. Yeah. If you want to be humbled, absolutely go join the 8 and 10-year-old gymnastics class and just try to keep up with their warm up.
True. Yeah, I'll kind of play around with that sometimes, like doing something, making a video. Yeah, look what I can do on Facebook, and then underneath that I'll say, but I wish I was as good as an 8-year-old girl gymnast. I ain't got nothing on them.
Oh yeah.
But so yeah, and then putting going back to some of the stuff people can do, also like putting the ball under the foot helps work on your balance. But another thing people need to work on is that proprioception in the body, the feedback in the foot. Wearing shoes so much, you just have your sock on or go barefoot with the ball, then it's going to start to help get the muscles working again, ligaments and tendons, get that feedback coming in, because the feet have some of the they're one place in the body that have more nerves per square inch than some other places. That's I think one reason why through history, when some people have delightfully and so humanely tortured other people, one thing they do is whip their feet. Because it's supposed to hurt so bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind and nice of them. It's but so that's another reason, folks, why you should try to go barefoot as much as possible, as much as reasonable, or do some minimalist shoes.
I say this with a smile on my face, but every female that comes to the gym that is forced into that professional world and has to look a certain way, I tell them I'll write them a note to their boss that they'll never have to wear high heels again.
Yeah.
Just never. And you'd be amazed. I get that from that perspective. I wish Melanie was here to give us some fight back, but I know it makes you feel good. You look good and all those other things, and makes your legs feel more sculpted or look better, but it's just not worth the pain in the long run. I'm like, let me just write you a note, never wear them again. And you'd be amazed. It's just that empowering piece. How many females are like, I haven't worn heels in 2 months and I feel great.
Yeah. Good. Right.
I didn't actually do that. You figured that out. I just gave you permission.
Yeah. That's an unfortunate aspect of our culture that I don't call them shoes or high heels. I call them devices of foot deformation, something like that. Nah, but Melanie's not big on them, I'm pretty sure. I've talked to her and her kids a lot, for a long time about health and biology and how to perform better. And so she's got more awareness, I think, than a lot of people about the importance of going barefoot and wearing low-rise shoes and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think, some people wear the high heels sometimes. Maybe they're going out or something, but if you need to or you want to, but it should be minimized as much as possible.
Yeah.
Be nice if more companies would maybe have some policies saying that they're not required or actually maybe forbidding high heels or something like that.
We go down a whole nother crazy path down there.
Yeah.
Especially just what is business attire or why business? I mean, we could talk a bunch, and
Yeah.
I think I really do see the future as being that we will become so much more remote oriented and work from home and split times and things like this, that just by proxy of that, I think we're going to see less formality in that old school, suit and tie and dress shoes, from the female perspective, whether it be a work suit or pantsuit and high heels or dissimilar. Forgive me, ladies, I'm I'm really disconnected. I don't wear a suit at all.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, but yeah, that'd be nice. And it's good if people look into like things like that. Think about, where did this come from? Question things, and like, why are subdivisions the way they are? Why are houses so close together? Why do we wear high heels? Why do men wear the dress shoes they do? Why do we wear suits and ties? Where does that come from? Do I really want to do that? And one thing I've read, I haven't looked into it in more detail, so much to do and so much to look into, but I did see one thing that said that high heels actually were developed for men first, and then women started wearing them. So
Okay.
it was specifically a male thing at first, and then became a female thing. But and I think it came up more in the courts, where you got all these like people doing all these power plays, and there's all this social positioning, and that's what things are about more. And I'm better than you, my throne's higher than you, all this stuff. And so like, I'm gonna have higher shoes than you, and so I can like look down on you and all this, throne dress up stuff. I think like that's a lot where suits come from too. That's another reason why I don't like them. All that monarchy power play stuff.
Right.
Not my thing. But not like I'm totally against them or I'm against people who do them. Like some people, they like James Bond in a suit. It makes him look like sharp and professional and stuff like that. So it's kind of like just the contrast of what he's capable of doing versus how he's like all dressed up.
Yeah.
Kind of makes it stand out a little more.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about? So you think the main thing people can do in some offices would be some like balance, coordination stuff? I don't think they could do as much strength or power. They might.
Yeah, I agree that the strength's going to be just for what you would probably need to do, and you don't want to get everybody else sweaty and nasty or
Yeah.
stinky. But you could you can do the grease the groove method, and that's the idea that if it's an important enough to you to do, it's an important enough to do every day. And so every day at lunch you could do the stairs. Every day, every hour on the hour that timer goes off, you're going to do 10 squats. And where for somebody that's highly active, you may not build a lot of strength, but somebody who's really trying to break into it, you're going to build some strength and some muscle adaptation there. So I don't want to say it's completely impossible to. It's just relevant. I mean, me attempting to do 10 handstand push-ups every hour is going to build me some strength.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not going to flip upside down in a suit and not
yeah, or a skirt.
Yeah, but you're just saying you just have to kind of pick and choose what you're going after and to what your schedule allows or your work allows, really.
Yeah. Or maybe people could bring in like a kettlebell, even if it's like a lighter one. Even if you're doing something, it's better than nothing. People might think, well, I'm not working out hard. I'm not like about to pass out. What does it work? What does it matter? Well, if you've done a CrossFit workout that day, or you did a hard one like 2 days ago when you're in recovery mode, so what? You don't want to do that much hard. You want to get like 20 pounds is good because you're doing something, maintaining the blood flow, the metabolism, and everything.
Oh, do the 10-minute squat test. Just put your feet into a squat position and then just squat.
Mm-hmm.
And just spend 10 minutes down there reading or doing whatever, talk on the phone or whatever business you're in. If you're on a conference call, nobody knows you're squatting behind the desk.
True, yeah. And after a bit of time, you should be able to work your way into it. And it's pretty natural because that's what a lot of primitive people do. Like you look at a lot of people in other countries, other cultures. I mean, hell, you got people I've heard about, they'll be squatting for like 3 hours doing something or at a market, whereas how many Americans can squat for more than like 30 seconds, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's more, and then they do a lot of that, like with when they're eating, squat, sit, pass stuff off to each other. A lot of mobility work. It's happening there, even though they're eating. Instead of like sitting in a chair, people can incorporate that at home.
Yeah.
Or maybe in schools, like if people want to sit at those nasty artificial tables that everyone sits at it in the cafeteria at a school, have those, but then have some place where kids can have maybe a low table, and then they can work on sitting, squatting, mobility while they're eating, and then, you know, having different parts of their legs and their buttocks and maybe their back push against the floor. You know, it's like kind of getting a massage while they're eating too.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff there.
That'd be interesting. Have a squat table at the chow hall at the.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what office building would put in a tiny table for people to come and sit down or squat down and eat.
Yeah, nowadays. Yeah. Be a good idea, but a lot of social pressure. It's kind of funny, given that America is regarded as a land of the independent and things like that, how much still, just because of our human nature, there's still so much social pressure, conformity, stuff like that.
Yep. Doing things to make other people happy that we don't even like.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that that general idea, as long as we get some of them social conventions and some of that conventional wisdom being rational and good instead of just silly.
Yeah.
But that'd be nice, but ain't happening right yet.
No.
So what are some things you think like PE teachers could incorporate into their programs that would help their athletes? I mean, for one thing, yeah, get more PE. Heck, if they could have, like even in high school, if they could have 2 PE sessions during the day or something, it'd help the kids so much.
Yeah. You know, I always, you know, I think we briefly talked about this last time, or that you know, fitness in school for us growing up was typically punishment, meaning you would if you did something wrong, you were forced to go run a lap, or or that military mindset, drop and give me 50 for talking out of line or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so, to PE teacher, if we could, you know, relabel or relook at how we give that direction or correction, where it's not punishment.
Good point.
I think there's a big change there, and get back to the world of making, you know, PE fun, where it's not that, you know, the typical high school kid or middle school kid that just wants to skip it or doesn't want to participate because they're maybe not the most athletic or whatever, and they always just get punished or abused to that end. Like it doesn't actually help them grow physically, let alone the mental aspect that's going to happen later in the class. But, you know, it's more game and engagement instead of so much of sport specific. Like, this is basketball week, this is soccer week, and this is movement week. You know, we're going to squat, yeah. We're going to climb on some stuff, and we're going to, you know, a little bit, not saying you still wouldn't institute some of the ball and the sport specific, but just would have a different tone to it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like the way you approach the question, stepping back and thinking about it philosophically. Like, whoa, wait, before we think about any specific things, how are we approaching this? That's an important thing I think PE teachers could do. What are we actually doing with our kids, and what do we want to accomplish? Do we want to make them hate this or what? And how can we get them all to participate? And then people could think, as I said earlier, about cities and footwear. Like, where does it come from? Why do we have this preoccupation with sports? I think people have written about that, different articles. Thankfully, with the internet, there's more access to that. But yeah, it used to not be in the country, this big focus on sports. It used to be on physical preparedness.
Wow.
You could tell in PE and gyms. Look up that school in California that JFK liked. They do rope climbing and monkey bars and all this other fitness stuff. And you had some like buff kids, really in good shape.
Absolutely.
Nothing wrong with sports, but that shouldn't be our preoccupation.
No, I agree. And sport is a weird power in the world, and the celebrityness of it.
Yeah.
But the exercise in general has to be looked at differently. It's just like you said, as a culture, we've mislabeled it or mismanaged it in a lot of ways. But there's some out there that just can't fathom any level of exercise. Walking 10 minutes a day is just unfathomable.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah.
the refusal to sweat.
Yeah.
And it's just that's something that's taught to us young, and we're not addressing it, or both interposed with our own kids, but as the world is not addressing that. Like, you need to move.
Yeah. And there's all these misconceptions. There could be other podcasts too. All this other stuff going on. Like, oh my gosh, I can't get outside. If I do, I'm going to get skin cancer. I'm going to get exposed to the sun. I'm going to die. I got to slather myself with all this stuff. And oh my gosh, what about like mosquitoes and stuff? Well, sorry, but if you look at what goes on indoors, all these toxins indoors from the man-made stuff, the probability of dying or getting injured in a car accident, so on and so forth, there's a great deal out there. And then all the problems caused by lack of vitamin D because you don't have sun exposure.
Yeah.
It's a holistic approach. We can't just look at one thing. You got to look at everything and what's going on.
Yeah.
But so yeah, there's some things that PE teachers and others can think about. Parents, how to better raise our youth, because it's so important. People love them. You got your heart in the right place. We just got to make sure we really dig into things to make sure we're doing the right thing for them, for those we love, and so they can have a better life. We don't want to keep them indoors and not let them get vitamin D and not have that sun exposure, which helps in so many other ways that science had even discovered yet.
Yeah.
And all that physical activity moving through the world. Even things like so simple as where you position your child. Like Katie Bowman, biomechanist, has done a lot of good work, and she's noticed that if you have, like a lot of primitive cultures, when they have their child on them, the child will be on their back facing forward, whereas a lot of people now have their child on them facing them. So then the child's eyes aren't getting used to scanning where you're going, and they're not integrating vision with movement as well. So you got these kids that are moving, but they don't see anything, and they just kind of tune out or fall asleep. But you got these kids on the back, and they get used to scanning the environment and looking at it. So it's this step-by-step process that would naturally occur without even knowing what the heck was going on. Just like the way Montessori education works, the way things are built up in CrossFit and MoveNat, you got this logical step-by-step development. Kids are moving and feeling the up and down, and they get the vision. Then eventually they're walking themselves. So even like little things like that, it's just like amazing. All the stuff we can learn that still has to be learned in science.
Yeah.
Like forget the damn like quantum mechanics and stuff. That's nice and it's helpful, but what about all this other more important, directly practical stuff? So yeah, parents, PE teachers can really dig into this if they want. Do a lot more for our kids.
Yeah. If you want them to be healthy and you want them to live a long life,
send them to P3 CrossFit.
And you want them to be there to take care of you when you're old.
Yeah.
Then they need to have a love and enjoyment to move.
Yeah. True. But any last words, John?
No last words today. Just get out there and enjoy the sunshine.
Please. Yeah. Cool. All right. It's great talking to you again. Appreciate you joining us again. Good conversation always.
Thank you for having me.
So thank you folks for listening. If you have any questions, just let us know. And we got finally set up some things on PayPal and Patreon. So if you want to help the show out, help it grow, help us have better sound quality and everything. You can donate. We'd appreciate that. But as we say, if you got any comments or questions, just let us know. And hope you enjoy the show and learned a lot. And we'll talk to you all soon.